What's up, everybody? This is Jim Fro from Ready Check Pull, and I'm here with Zach Zachi. What's up, man?
Hey, what's up?
So we obviously do our podcast on Fridays usually, but we're doing it today on Sunday because Friday and Saturday was a little bit weird for us. So hopefully you guys don't mind. We're going to upload this right after we're done so that you guys can have it for the work week. You know, we're so thoughtful.
Yeah, don't you guys like when the electricity in your house just stops, just goes away? Just stops. You know, gotta love it.
Don't you guys like it when, you know, you just can't go online and you have to stare at the ceiling for 16 hours? Anyways, a lot of stuff that happened over the week. One of the big things was the Preach interview, which we're going to definitely be talking about. Preach with Ian and all that good stuff. But before we do that, man, what's going on, Zach? How you doing?
I'm all right. I just had a week with like the house to myself, you know, so I just got to nerd out straight nerd for all day, every day. So
How's
I'm
that sleep schedule?
It's all right. Somehow it's intact. I don't know. It's like it's not quite right, but you know, it could be, it could be way worse. You know how it's gotten. But
true.
Just hanging out inside, still dealing with the whole Corona shenanigans, and I'm glad I'm a gamer. Let's just put it that way.
I just watched Dr. K talk about that shit, dude. He had a big old little YouTube video that was big old little YouTube video where he was talking about it's insane. The rest of the world is freaking out, and we're sitting here what's wrong with you people?
Yeah.
You know, we're in our element. This is the best time we've ever had ever.
Right.
So,
it's not too shabby for us.
What's going on in the World of Warcraft for you? What you been working on? What videos have we put out?
What do you mean, dude?
I just haven't been here, you know. So my power was out. I don't even know what's been uploaded.
Setting me up, dude. Well, we just got done with all the dungeons. That was a cool little milestone that we got. All of our quick guides are all done. All 8 that they're coming out with. All the quick guides. So we got, that's for normal difficulty, just understanding the base of the dungeon. So that's all good to go. Now we move on to gearing up for the mythic stuff, Mythic Plus, stuff like that. So we got to figure out how we're going to do that. And then raid testing is coming up. But yeah, we got a lot of that whatchamacallit, information last week. So we kind of know the schedule coming up. It's got me anxious, dude.
Yeah, so the dungeons was a crazy milestone for me. I was telling Zach that I was feeling a little bit kind of I didn't want to finish it because, I've been working on all these I don't know, you'll see. You'll get the same feeling when you're on the last class of the class guides. You're going to be I don't want to finish it. But it's really nice to be done. That way we can work on some other, maybe some more in-depth type of things that are going on with Shadowlands. One of the things I definitely want to be working on is some type of big overview of our thoughts on the dungeon so far, and then we got the tank thing coming out, and you just put out the Ret video, which actually is doing really well.
Yeah. People are a little salty that I like it, which is a weird experience.
Yeah.
Playing a spec, enjoying it more than you ever have, because I've played Ret in the past. Ret's a blast. The changes they made are awesome. There's still some quirky weird stuff that they'll probably change or nerf or whatever, but it just plays great. And I'm saying, hey, the changes they made are great. It's not perfect, still got problems, but it's great. People how dare you enjoy playing it?
How dare you Paladin?
How dare you not explain every single thing that could possibly be wrong with the spec and recommend talent changes for every single talent? And how dare you not want it to go back to how it was?
To be fair,
Whoa.
These people are upset because BFA, might have led them a little bit astray. And they're the only people. So the people he's talking about is the very, very, very few minority of the comments that we've gotten. The big overwhelming thing of the Ret video is, it's getting the most views that we've gotten at this time in this amount of length for one of our videos. So it's It's really good. It's like a lot of people are giving a lot of good feedback. They're really happy that Rhet's turning out the way it did. But there are some people who played Rhet for their whole life, and I don't want to be disrespectful, but there's like a Rhet echo chamber. It's the same thing that happens with Pharaoh Druids. There's this like echo chamber where they just like something goes wrong, someone says it's wrong, and then they just repeat it and repeat it. And I really want them to get beta, because as soon as they get beta, as soon as they're in testing out dungeons and trying things out, they're gonna see that the shit is fucking awesome. Like Rhet is awesome.
Yeah, that's the case, because they're like, come into the class Discord and we'll talk about it.
What you mean? I'm testing on alpha and doing dungeons and going over numbers and logs.
Talk about an echo chamber, dude. Like, I mean, like you said, people who like identify as a Rhet paladin in real life, like that shit hurts. BFA hurt them real bad. They just don't trust anymore, dude. I get it. I mean, Windwalker did not
Zach
do too well in
crying
BFA. That hurt me, man.
Hit him hard.
But I still like Windwalker. Somebody anyway. But so we're getting some interesting feedback, and that series of me reviewing the specs and stuff seems to be working well. So I'm planning on doing it for every spec. Trying to do the ones that like feel more complete. Like they're not going to get massive changes tomorrow, so the video just becomes irrelevant. So I'm trying to do the ones that feel a little more complete first. So it's kind of hard to do stuff like Elemental Shaman or Pharaoh Druid, where it's like they've got to get changed. Like doing Shadow Priest right now would be silly, because like
there's been a bunch of requests for Pharaoh Druid, but they're so incomplete right now that there's no way that this is what's going live. Absolutely no way. It
actually like just recently got some like pretty heavy talent changes, which like totally changed the game.
The rip changes.
Certain time, exactly. That play styles are rip.
Like got him. Anyways, so speaking of the dungeons, which dungeon do you feel is the worst out of the bunch, or is there a worst, or do you actually enjoy them all?
Ooh,
because for me,
well, the one that comes to mind is Spires of Ascension.
I was just gonna say the same thing.
Yeah, but like in terms of like the scale of like whether a dungeon is good or bad, you had BFA dungeons, which some were like a couple were like a 9. There maybe Freehold is a 10.
Yeah,
maybe.
Freehold is really good.
But like that was like the best one. But a lot of them were like 4s, and like Waycrest was like a 2. It was just like when you really got into them. And
what was Call to Gore?
Dude, I don't know. It was like a 3. that one was rough, man. Like it had some cool like redeeming factors, but like overall, like when you run it so many times and you do it with all the different affixes and whatever, you just realize like, this isn't how a dungeon's supposed to be.
Yeah.
But when I say like Spires of Ascension feels like the worst out of the 8 that we have, it's like it's a 6, not a 3. When I see it, when I'm queuing and I see it pop up as a loading screen, I'm not like, oh, this dungeon again. I'm like, oh, okay, I can. Yeah, that's cool. That's all right.
Yeah, it's not, oh, this dungeon again. It's like, man, I wish I would have got this dungeon. It's like, it's just a little different. You're not pissed that you got the dungeon. You're upset that you didn't get a different dungeon that you just actually enjoy a lot. But Spires of Ascension, just to give you guys who haven't watched any of the videos, is basically, it's a big, giant blue dungeon, and it has really cool bosses. Like, the curator type boss, I really like those mechanics. I like how that works together. And they have one of the bosses has a pet or whatever, and I don't mind that one. I think that one's a pretty good one as well. I like the last boss. As soon as they fixed the whole bug was when you missed the damn javelin. Anyways, but the problem with the dungeon is that the trash jumps away or flies up in the air.
And the bosses.
Well, that too, but like those are on timers and you kind of expect it. But like for trash, every trash pack that you're going from trash to trash to trash, you're like, all right, and then for the tank, they can't get aggro, and then melee can't even hit the damn thing. And you're just like, and then DKs can't even work with it because they only have 1 grip, and you have to bring 4 DKs and a healer. Like that's what, like, to really like. And then some things are just far away that don't move because they're casting, and you can't grip them for no reason. It's just a trash thing that you just can't grip. So so it's the trash that's really annoying with that one. Not so much the bosses or the theme or the layout. All that stuff's pretty cool still.
Yeah, it is cool. You get to, it's like a little, you can choose whether you go left or right, which is like kind of cool. The whole aesthetic of it is crazy. Being the like the blue halls of valor, like on the little floating eye, like it's cool. It's just actually, now to think about it, I don't think like in all the other dungeons, I don't think there's really any mobs that do stuff like that where they just like they disengage 40 yards away and cast a thing that you can't interrupt. Like that, that doesn't happen.
There was one. Remember, it's the worst dungeon in Legion. Black
No,
Rook.
I'm saying it. No, I know. I'm saying in this expansion. Wait,
there was one. The worst dungeon in Legion.
Yeah, they had a few of those in Legion, but they put like 3 of them in Spires of Ascension. So it's like, wait. It's like as a melee, you're going in like, all right, I can hit this guy, and then he leaps away or disappears. You're like, okay, well, I'll try to hit he flew up into the air. All right, I'll try to hit this guy. Nope, he's gone. Okay, I don't know who to hit, man. So
and we definitely give feedback. We definitely are giving feedback and writing in. Like anytime that we pull a trash pack and something's annoying, we hit the report to Blizzard little button and we write in our little feedback. But the problem with this type of dungeon is the whole theme is everything's a goddamn angel. So everything flies away, and so the whole theme is like that whole thing. So I think we're kind of stuck with it, kind of like Blackwater Behemoth. You just kind of just deal with it. It's just it's just one of the dungeons that it's not bad, by the way. It's like the trash isn't like overly complicated and overly stuffed. It's a really open dungeon. So overall, it's not bad, but that is probably the worst dungeon so far. But again, like Zach says, it's a 6 out of 10 and not the 1 out of 10.
You can live with it, and it's like super simple fixes. Like the thing that flies up into the air, it goes like 10 yards up into the air. If it went 5 yards up into the air, I wouldn't even. I would not care at all. And the thing that leaps away 40 yards, if it leapt away 20 yards, I would not care at all. It's
and
just like,
one time, let's put a cooldown on that leap because it's not good.
The severity of it just gets you. So it's like super simple fixes, and then the dungeon would just be like another great dungeon. And like you can already see with all the dungeons, but even that one too, like Mythic Plus everything's gonna make sense. You're not gonna be crowded in a corridor, and like your camera's not screwed. Like every dungeon in Shadowlands so far is like your camera is good to go.
Yep.
Which is like that alone is so massive.
And
you're not in a tiny hallway.
So speaking of Mythic Plus, like none of this is like we can't give any opinions on what is going to be good for Mythic Plus, right? This is just straight normal dungeon running. But with that said, the best dungeon I've probably ever run is the Other Side. Like that is the sickest dungeon I've ever ran in a long. Like it is so good. Like I get like every time like we go through like again, it's another dungeon where you get to a little bit pick the way you go, what you're wanting to do. Like you're switching zones like crazy, so nothing looks the same. The end dude is awesome. Like no spoilers if you want to watch the video, it's there, but it's like the end dude is awesome. The mechanics are awesome. Like I love that dungeon. I love that dungeon on normal. When an affix comes in, it might not be so good, but
that one, I remember like that like the first time you do that dungeon, if you're like going in fresh, you're gonna be like, is this a raid? Like what are they doing? No, like why did they go all out for this?
It was a raid that they just cut it down to 5 because maybe they didn't have enough dungeon. It is insane.
Yeah. And you're like, man, this reminds me of this place. Wait, now it reminds me of this place.
Yeah.
No, now I'm here. Wait, this is Mechagon. Wait, what is going on?
Yeah.
And then like the last boss is just this giant, like complicated encounter. You're like, this could have been a raid boss. And it probably will be, let's be honest.
Yeah, and probably will because he doesn't die, so yeah, whenever something doesn't die in a dungeon, they're probably coming back.
Yeah, that's how you know. Literally, that happens in Sanguine Depths too. Like you already know the boss is a raid boss. So like when you do it in the dungeon, you're like, okay, I know what you're about to do.
So, do you think she starts at that health though in the dungeon or in the raid? That would be sweet.
No.
That would be sweet, dude. Super fast execute.
Yeah, okay, dude.
That would be awesome.
No,
Rip Marksman. No, but yeah, so with that, and then I like a lot of the design for Plaguefall, except the first boss is pretty shit, but like other than that, like I like Plaguefall. I honestly I like all the dungeons. We don't even need to go over all of them. I think they're all really freaking good. I think they all have really cool style, really cool aesthetics, cool boss fights. The trash isn't too packed, so yeah. Dungeons are really good right now.
Yeah, and like we just recently, the last one we got was Theater of Pain, which was like
Yep.
sick. You know, like choose, it's like you got to choose which it's not linear, and the idea of it is cool, and the
You
theme
get
of
to
it is
kill
cool. Like,
people, your friends.
dude, oh yeah, you have
See
to
me in the
duel.
pit, bro.
Dude, you know they've been trying to add that into the game
Yeah.
forever, and they couldn't
Yeah.
figure out like
So
how to
what we're
do it.
referring to is there is a boss fight. Again, no spoilers. There is a boss fight where he takes two people, puts them in a pit, 2 DPS, and you literally fight to the death. If you
It's a
don't,
duel.
if you choose not to fight, you're both are just gone out of the,
Yeah.
like no damage for the rest of the
Yep.
fight for you guys. So one of you has to win. Now, obviously, eventually, maybe some like groups or whatever are going to say, well, let's give it to the big guy. That won't be me. You'll never see me give it to the big guy. Like, Zach's
Yep.
whooped my ass that first time we were in there, but whatever. He's a windwalker and I was a marksman. So, he whooped my ass.
Saved
But
all my cooldowns.
but I literally died in a stun, so there's not. And then as soon as I tried to attack you, you had Carmon. So there's literally
Yeah.
nothing I could do. So, but no, Zax is so far 2-0, right, in that dungeon?
I think so, dude.
Yeah, 2-0. Killed me, killed Kalamazi, dude, the warlock.
Yep.
But no, we're that dungeon is really freaking awesome. I definitely recommend checking that one out if you haven't yet. Theater of Pain.
Yeah. They got cool stuff going on this go around. I think they're finally learning, at least in the camera department. They're finally like, oh,
In the
people
camera.
want open
You
dungeons.
think there's a department for the camera?
I'm just saying they've been getting a
'Cause
big old F in
There
that category
wasn't
for a
in
while.
BFA, that's for sure.
Yeah, for sure. God,
That's
but yeah,
crazy.
everything's feeling pretty good, and we just got like beta just came out, so we're
Oh,
getting
yeah? Good luck to
actual like
everybody.
Mythic Plus testing and stuff. So we're about to see like the real deal version of it.
Did you see
Of all the
now
dungeons.
is doing plus 10s already?
Yeah, that's all. That's the only option you can do. It like scales your gear up and stuff.
Oh, I thought he was just like had the gear like farmed
No.
it up and can do 10s easy peasy now. I was like, what the hell, dude?
No, it's so weird. They've put in like a weird system where like you can add affixes if you want, or you can just do a base plus 10, and then like it scales your gear to the key level. It's like a weird thing, but yeah, I did like a
He was
9
playing
the
Prop
other day.
Paladin. I know someone who really likes Prop Paladin.
Prop Paladin owns, dude. I know somebody too. I know a lot of people who like. Wait a second, is that a good spec?
Yeah, it's a.
Know what that
yeah,
means?
That's a good one. He was talking about it too, and everyone literally everyone playing Prop Paladin right now is just like, this is insane. Like, did
Yeah,
you?
yeah.
Oh my god, I sent it to you, right? The clip of Limits GM Maximum doing the he literally like pulls 5 different packs with Avenger Shield. Right? That's what it's like.
Yeah,
he literally
'cause he
like
had
ran in. He was like Avenger Shield, then he used the Covenant ability, and then he did use the talent that reset,
Yeah,
so he
yeah.
got Avenger Shield, and then he Avenger Shields again, just pulling everything with Avenger Shield.
Yeah, it's funny. He did I think he did the dungeon as a prop warrior before, like right before that, and was like not digging it. And he was like, "Man, I gotta come right back in here as a prop paladin and show y'all what you can really do in this place." And then that's the first pull. He just pulls he does the MDI pull, and you're like, "Oh, okay."
It just looked so fun. Like, first off, it's ridiculous that everyone's AoE is capped. Like, there's no need to put, like, he
It's,
was just showing
pointless,
off.
yeah.
100% just showing off, but
Yep.
it was so awesome.
Yeah, it was cool. Prop paladin's looking good. Big
Hell yeah.
fan,
I
big
mean,
fan.
all the tanks are looking pretty good other than Guardian. Guardian is looking as bad as it possibly can, but all the tanks are looking pretty good. Again, that video should be coming out pretty shortly, but all right.
Yeah.
Do you want to start talking about that Preach interview?
Bro, yeah, this is the big news this week. Because
And hey, for anyone listening, me and Zax are on differing sides at some points, so we might get a little heated. We still love each other. It's all love in this podcast, okay?
yeah. We talked about it a lot. And it's like everybody's talked about all this stuff forever and whatever, you got friends that agree and disagree with you, all that good stuff. But yeah, so there's what was it on Thursday, Friday? There's a interview with Preach Gaming. You probably know who that is. And
Wasn't
Ian
an interview.
from
They
Blizzard.
had to make it real clear. It was just
Yeah.
a conversation.
Dude, that's the first thing I wanted to say was like, because what you expect kind of the same thing every time you see somebody with Ian. You're like, oh, it's going to be a question and answer. That's it. No back and forth, just question, answer, question, answer. But this one was explicitly just like a conversation. Like Preach would talk about some stuff, ask him a question, Ian would answer and ask him a question. Like they were just talking like gamers, and that like really, that feel really came through. It was sick. I don't know if anybody's ever like had an interview, so to speak, like that. But like Preach said, like that's what he was aiming for, and like that's what they wanted, and
it was more like an hour-long podcast with the two, right?
Exactly, dude. And like that's what we've been talking about. Like if we have guests on, we don't want it to be, or Ian or anybody. Like we don't want it to be just a question and answer interview. We want it to be a conversation that we both kind of present ideas and like argue. You're not just complacent with whatever the person says. And,
I really enjoyed that interview. Like, I'm not kidding.
Crushed that interview.
Yeah, really. And I know there's some people giving him hate for it because maybe they didn't get the answer that they wanted, or he didn't press hard enough on something. Like, let's in a normal conversation, you don't. If someone's just saying like, "This is what it is," you don't keep hammering it like you're a fucking idiot. Like this is what you should do. Like you don't. Like that's not how you talk to people. So like I understood exactly why it was flowing the way it was flowing, and I thought he did a fantastic job. Like he pushed back on some things, and he made sure that he let him, he got off the topic if Ian wasn't like moving the conversation at all, and so then they both had enough time to really dig into the points that they were trying to make. I thought it was fantastic.
Yeah. So yeah, the format of it was awesome. Great interview, worth a watch. I think it's like maybe like an hour long. I think that's all the time they had.
A little less,
Preach had to like cruise through. Had to keep moving on. But yeah, there was a lot of I don't know, controversial kind of things. It's like there's a lot of light shown on the the thought processes of Blizzard that was like, oh wait, why do you guys think that? Like maybe I agree with it or not, but like wait, that's how you came to that conclusion? Okay. Yeah. But there's so much to like dig into with this interview. I don't even know where to start.
Let's start with the good shit. So one of the best things that they talked about is that conduits will no longer be destructible. So again, a lot of people haven't been keeping up a lot with Shadowlands. So what conduits are basically relics that you put in this little talent tree that they give you for, connecting your soul with one of the Covenant people, one of the faction people, right? So before, the way it was is that you would find these relics from killing bosses, doing quests, doing things, whatever you did, right? And then you'd put that relic inside of the talent tree, and it would be like your fireball does 20% more damage. It's not that, obviously, but just for an example. Then you would switch to frost, and that would stay fireball does 20% damage. And to get it to not be that, you'd have to put in a frost one, and then that one was lost, right? That one got destroyed like a gem. So now, and that was a lot of people hated that, obviously, for obvious reasons. You'd have to keep farming and farming and farming a freaking giant bag full of the same conduits, which would really suck. So they're changing that and making it so that at least, I don't know, they didn't talk about the spec changing, but at least you don't lose it when you put the relic in. Yeah. So you'll get it back, which is good.
Ian made a big point of like, hey, we heard the feedback. Having them be destructible sounds terrible. Yeah. We agree. So they're not going to be destructible, but we don't know what the solution is. Like we know it's not that, and we're working on the next thing. So they don't really know.
So the options, I think, are going to be the relic comes back out and gets put in your bag, which I don't think they want. And then the other option is that it's like kind of like an essence thing where you just select from a slot. I don't know.
Yeah, I think they're mostly concerned with and this is like the theme of the interview is how swappable they are. So like, can you change them between bosses? If you change specs, do they change instantly, or do you have to put them in, or do you have to change soul binds? Can you change them in your covenant, or can you do them like in the raid or wherever you are with a tome? Like they're very concerned with the feeling of like, are you stuck with the conduits you chose, or can you swap them? And that's like the same issue with the entire covenant thing going on. Are you stuck with what you chose, or can you swap it whenever? and that's like what they're trying to figure out with the conduits. So yeah, like the essence thing, like just it's not even in your inventory. It's just like a list that you select from. You can slap them in whenever you want. That would be great for me, but Blizzard has kind of alluded to wanting to kind of lock in your choices lately. So I'm kind of worried that that's not going to be how it goes, you know. But they also got because they did the same thing with let's see, what were they called? Oh, yeah. The big thing, this is like that everybody's kind of clipping and talking about mostly is what was the quote? I have the direct quote here. So yeah, here. Okay, so I wrote it down so I don't misquote you in here. So it's a big controversial thing. Ian said to Preach, he was like prefacing like, hey, I know you're kind of speaking for like the mythic raiding community and like top end players. Do you feel like it's an ideal endpoint for every hunter who is doing a mythic raid encounter across the world, really, to basically be the same in terms of their stats, their abilities, and the only difference among them is who can push their buttons more effectively, who can execute the mechanical aspects of their class? So that's saying like, if you got like a bunch of mythic raiders in the same guild, and you got 3 hunters, and they're all geared to the teeth, as geared as they can be, when they step into the raid, should there be like, if they put in the same, you know, effort, got the same gear, the same everything, should their damage and like their throughput only come down to how good they are, or should there be some choice that they had to make between them, where it's like, or not between them, but like each one had to make, so like the Venthyr, Kyrian, Necro, whatever difference. So it's like they're all perfectly the same gear, but there's like innate differences between them that they can't change. And Ian is saying that they want like characters to, they don't want characters to be exactly the same. They want like, if you have 3 hunters in your guild, one can be a, you know, perfectly geared Venthyr, one can be a perfectly geared Necrolord, and like on average they're like pretty equal, but Venthyr might be better for single target, Necrolord might be better for AoE, and it's like they can't switch, so you're stuck with what you got, but you still, I don't know, they're both good, so you'd still bring them. Okay, and so that's like super controversial.
Okay, so I was gonna let you finish before I absolutely blow up on this goddamn thing. Oh my dude, that quote right there, like, I used to be on board with the Titan Forge. We talked about this before, but I gotta repeat it for the podcast. I used to be on board with Titan Forge because I was like, you know, they want to be the whole casino thing. They want people to feel good, even though most of the time you feel bad when you don't get something, but it amplifies it when you actually do win and get that thing. That's that RNG casino luck thing, right? I was on board with that, and then I was a little bit on board with, well, it's kind of like the casino is why in Legion they wanted the legendaries to be the way they wanted it to be. And then the same thing kind of happened with the shoulders, and I was like, all right, it's kind of... After this quote, I am 100% absolutely fucking positive that they just want some people to be better than others because they got lucky.
Yep.
That is crazy to me. That is crazy. If you have the same shoulders from the same run, and then everything else about you is the same, but one of you just got a Titan Forge and the other one didn't, they're fucking cool with that. Like, because
because their rationale for that, which is this exact same thing for the Covenants, is, well, hopefully we've balanced it out so that like he got lucky in that way and you got lucky in a different way. And
it's ridiculous.
Yeah.
Bro, because if you're doing the Covenant thing, it's like, all right, I picked Venthyr because I like Venthyr, and I like the way that their class, their Covenant ability works, and then the special Covenant ability, the class Covenant ability, whatever, like, that's pretty cool too. But then you go into a dungeon, or a raid, or PvP, or whatever you're doing in the game, and then you see that this guy just happened to go Kyrian because, you know, he liked the theme of Kyrian, because you only pick a Covenant based on the fucking theme. You don't pick a Covenant based on anything else. So it's like this dude went Kyrian, and then you're just like, well, he's just better than me. So maybe my raid leader then decides, well, you know what? We're just going to take that guy because he went the Covenant that's actually going to help us on this fight. And you're like, what? But like, we got the same gear and we parse the same. We do everything. But yeah, but he's the right Covenant for this.
Yeah.
It's dude. And then he backed it up. This was the other example that he gave. Sorry, I'm getting heated on this. Because I backed Blizzard up so much in the past and it just shit on my face, dude. So like, he brought up this point. He said, if you are a fire mage, if you are a frost mage right now in BFA, people do not take you because you're a frost mage because you have the choice to be fire mage. He said that's why people don't take you, and we don't want that to happen with Covenants. So basically what he's saying is that if you picked a frost mage and we forced you to stay frost mage, meaning you cannot go fire, that you would have a better chance of getting a group because people wouldn't assume you're bad. What?
Yeah,
You're still a frost mage and now you have no choice but to be a frost mage, no matter how much. That is the most ridiculous thing I've ever heard in my damn life. It is so beyond ridiculous. Dude, please let me digress.
Yeah, the way I don't know if it's a direct quote, but the way it's been summarized is having complete control over something, like being able to change your spec or your covenant or whatever. Having complete control over something can remove your freedom by forcing you to choose the optimal choice. So like the fact that you can change from shitty arcane mage to fire mage means that you're less free because you have to.
And it's like, people aren't like, all right, so you do a 15, I do a 15, and we're not looking at, well, you're a frost mage, so you're a dumb piece of shit, and we're just never going to play with you again. People are looking at, you're a frost mage, and I know that frost mage doesn't do well in this dungeon. That's what they're looking at. It has nothing to do with the damn player.
Yep.
That is just crazy, man. I used to have to fake. Back in the day, I had to fake being a boomkin. You know what I used to do? I used to go into queue and I used to be the druid, and then I would sit in the dungeon when they summoned, everyone got summoned to the dungeon, whatever. I would sit in the dungeon in moonkin form because you could have the balance talent that made you moonkin, whatever. So I would sit in moonkin form until the key went in because I would get booted if I didn't. Okay? That is what they're trying to make people do. It is ridiculous. Yeah. Absolutely ridiculous. Oh my God, it pisses me off.
Very concerning. And this is like a bigger point of like the bigger picture of what's going on, which I think feels kind of weird to me. Shadowlands, like if you don't think about Covenants, Shadowlands itself is amazing. Everything about it is sick. The changes are making
only reason why
awesome.
People are getting pissed off is because it's fucking amazing. And they're like, this is the one thing.
They're like, oh my God, we have so much to lose. Don't do this. Like, if it was just like, oh, BFA sucks, you might as well add Covenants. It sucks anyway. This is like, Shadowlands is dope. Please don't ruin it. But it's like, Blizzard, like, they have such an amazing expansion and like everything's just awesome. And they should be like, we should all be like celebrating that. But they introduced this idea of the whole Covenant not being able to switch a lot of stuff thing. And
I was backing it up, dude. I was backing it up.
They're just every interview, every conversation, every piece of feedback that they're getting and giving, and every content creator and everybody is saying the same thing. Don't lock stuff, like
behind player power.
And
yes.
They're just player power stuff. Don't lock my player power behind stuff. Please don't. And Blizzard is just like dying on this hill. It's so weird because they've been so amazing. Like, weirdly good at listening to feedback and changing things and being like, yeah, we just won't have Titanforge anymore. What do you mean? You argued about that for years and then you're just not even gonna have a replacement. It's like, holy shit, they're turning a new leaf.
It reminds me of the famous YouTube clip that they have of, trust me, you guys don't want classic. No one. It's by far more played than BFA right now. By far. And they're like, no, trust us. You don't want. We know you don't want classic. That would be terrible. It's like, okay, dude, you're clearly just fucking clueless.
Dude, that just reminded me because this whole they keep saying it's more about, it's like making the game feel more like an RPG. You can make choices that matter, for your character. And that was like a small part of what Classic was. Like, you can't really change specs that often because it costs a lot of gold and whatever.
Yep.
And like the gear's all different. Like in Classic, you did kind of have to like choose a playstyle, or you are a tank, like you kind of have to spend a lot of time in one decision, and like people kind of like that aspect of Classic, but the game worked totally different back then, and nothing was balanced. So and that's like okay because it was Classic. That's not how the game is anymore, and that was like a small part of what made Classic good. But now they're like, we'll see that we did it in Classic, we'll do it now and it's gonna be great. No. That's not how that works.
Yeah, it's so frustrating. It's so frustrating because I get it. I get what he's saying about like he made one good point. I'll give him one good point where it does kind of suck having to change your gear and then your talents, and then you have to change your covenant, and then you have to change your soul binds, and you have to change your relics in the soul binds, and it's like it could get out of control. But it's like, the argument that I have against that is you are putting in these systems that are making us do this changing, and then you're trying to say, well, we have all these systems in, we don't want to have you guys change them. Like, that would be terrible. It's like, no, that's your artificial problem that you're putting into the game. They could have easily made it a system where it's just like, all right, pick your covenant. You got your talent, like, or I'm sorry, your quests that you have to do. You got the reputation that you have to get. You got all this little lore stuff, cool ass things that you want to do, your mount, your stuff, whatever. They just need to take the goddamn soul binds. I mean, I'll just take the ability, but soul binds and the ability should be universal, and you should be able to be at a big giant round table and be like, hey, what's up, dude? Psh, high five. I'd like, even though I'm Kyrian, I'd like to work with you so we can stop this, this evil that's coming. Let me get that ability. Let me get that soul bind. And now we're good. But instead, they decide, all right, we have all this cool shit and we want to make you choose this cool shit. So what we can't make you guys just switch freely. It would break the lore. What? Just change it so that it's so that we can pick our covenants and all be happy, and I can throw my dank ass parties. And I don't have to worry about being a shit can because I'm, a freaking monk that went Venthyr. I don't know. It's ridiculous.
Yep.
Just because crazy. I want to throw parties and I like vampires doesn't mean I should be worse in the raid than another marksman hunter. That is crazy.
Yeah. Definitely crazy. And they keep saying, in that same vein, Ian kept using the word friction. So like not being able to swap everything. He's saying we lost something over time. Where like we lost all friction. You can change specs. You can change, your race. You can pay to change your race, which is like crazy that you can even do that. You can change your talents. You can change your gear. You can change your whatever you want. And then he's like, every time we add friction into the game, you guys hate it. So like we have to keep taking it out, which is that should be evidence enough, right? So now he's like, so now we're adding in friction to the game. It's gonna be good, I promise.
That's
like,
so crazy.
Dude, hello, like, what? Why do you keep trying to? I don't know why you keep trying to do this. And it's the thing is, I don't know if people. I don't know. Maybe I don't hang out with the right people, right? But I don't hear people asking for friction. That's not like a thing that you want. It's like a thing that you just accept whenever it's there. Like you can't change. Like if you're a hunter, you can't pay to change your hunter into a shaman. That makes sense. We just accept that. That's cool. That shouldn't even be an option. If I could pay to do that, that'd be kind of crazy. I don't even want that option. I like that friction. Aside from that, everybody wants to be able to race change because they put player power behind it, kind of ironically. And everybody wants to be able to change their character, like everybody wants no friction. And every single time they add friction to the game, it's the same thing. It's just
he brings up the point. Remember, do you remember him bringing up the point of looking for group? like the looking for group like little point that he brought up, where I can't really find the exact thing that he said, but it was roughly like, we put in looking for group because, you know, everyone wanted, you know, to be able to get to dungeons faster or whatever, so we put in looking for group, and we put in LFR and all this other stuff, and now everyone's pissed off that the game has no soul because no one's running around doing anything.
Right.
And like that, totally different things, right? Like having an easy way to get to a dungeon, and that's on Blizzard, dude. Whatever, you know, if it takes me a little bit and then we have to summon, like, that's on you guys. Like, if you decide that that's the world that you want to have, that's cool, because no one's complaining that someone else gets LFR and we don't. I gotta run, but this guy gets LFR. That's crazy, right?
Yeah, no, like, look, I'm mad because LFR sucks.
Yeah, I'm mad because LFR is terrible, and I'm like, this is different. You're giving someone else something that I can't get no matter what. That is totally different than using the example of LFR causing, we try to reduce friction, and now everyone's pissed off about it. That's not why people don't like LFR.
Yeah, this whole friction idea, I feel like that's going to become like a hotbed term. I don't know what the phrase is, but like people are going to like meme about him saying friction all the time.
Yeah.
Cause like that seems to be
everyone's memeing on the whole loadout thing. Why would he like everyone knows that, like everyone gets a little bit pissed off because it's like Activision is taking over Blizzard and now they're using the word loadout. It's like, come on, dude.
Oh, I see. Call of Duty loadout.
Yeah.
Oh.
It's like, it's ridiculous. It's like, why would you call it loadout? It's like, that's not what we have. Like, it's crazy.
Yeah. Well, and like, speaking of that, like he talked about how, because like when you're a Venthyr, you got 3 soulbind options, and they have like, it's like a tree that you go down and whatever. And he's saying like you can so you can have 3 of them set up, but you can only have like 1 active at a time, which that makes sense. So you have like the one that you have set up for your DPS, right? For if you're a Windwalker, you have the soulbind set up for a Windwalker, and then like everything's fine. But then you go and like let's say you queue and you're like, I don't care. I can tank or I can be Windwalker. You know, I can be either one. Like you have to sit right now. I have to sit next to the soulbind thing if I want to be like good. I have to stand next to the soulbind thing. So if I get queued as a brewmaster, I have to click the thing, go into my conduits, change every single one of my conduits, and then reroute the tree so that it fits my thing, and then like the queue cancels, and then the queue pops again, and I'm DPS. Oh fuck! I gotta buy all the conduits. I gotta put the conduits back into because they have this weird thing, which I don't know if many people are talking about this. I feel like we might be one of the first people talking about this. Maybe I'm just talking out of my ass. But when you have 3 soulbind choices, and they kind of have them like loosely designated as there's a DPSer soulbind. It just does more damage. There's like a survivability soulbind. So it's like it's the tank one. That meme. And then they have the utility one. So it's like the PvP one. They don't say it like that, right? But it's like a pretty clear distinction of how they have it like set out. And dude, if you're not I'm never ever gonna use the other 2. I'm always, as a DPS, I'm gonna be the DPS one every single time, no matter what I'm doing. Like I'm not gonna give up damage. What do you know, dude?
You're just a World 7th, US whatever 7th raider. You don't nothing. You don't know shit,
dude.
But let me tell you what I know as a tank, as a cutting edge tank. I personally am never gonna use the other 2. I'm only gonna use the DPS. So right, I don't care if I was a disc priest for a lot of BFA, cutting edge on Jaina. I'm using the DPS one because that's the only thing that matters on whether or not you kill a boss or don't.
Yeah, even as a tank, and like they're all kind of set up to be
unless
like
there's
generic,
like that big talent at the end, or the big ability that you get, the passive at the end, unless for some reason that is broken for something and that's why you end up doing it. I could see something like that happening. But from what I've seen so far and as it stands right now, it's just go for the damage. That is it.
ironically, they did put like there's like a legitimate cheat death in like maybe the survivability one. So it's like you lose damage, but you get a cheat death, which is just stupid. No, that's not a cheat death, but they actually got rid of it. It was a legitimate straight up cheat death. You were gonna die and you didn't. You're still alive forever, and they had to delete it because it was stupid.
Why would you ever not take the DPS increase on that is 1,000,000. The DPS you get from not being dead is 1,000,000.
Yeah. So it's like even when they were like, yeah, you have the damage one, but this one you get, it does less damage, but it has a cheat death. Okay, I'm never using the damage one then. Like they don't get that. Like they keep thinking they can balance their way out of this issue, and I think that is what's going on.
And it's just wasting balance time. It's literally just wasting production time.
So they're like, yeah, so we're gonna have 3 different soul binds. Dude, like,
but check it with that whole
12 soul binds you could choose from, and there's like all these abilities, and it's between all the classes. Like, I couldn't even come up with a worse like balancing like opportunity. That sounds like the worst thing to balance ever.
And it's so like, unnecessary.
Oh yeah, we'll figure it out. Yeah, and it's unnecessary. That's the thing.
It's like this big ass problem they have that they don't need to have. Goal.
Yeah. And in the history of WoW, they've never even gotten close with this kind of thing. So like with an additional system, it's never close.
Zax came up with the sickest solution for the soul binds, and it's by far the best solution that I've heard so far. Again, I'm not patting him on the back. He's 98% an idiot. But like, what? Just kidding. But the soul bind, that idea that he came up with it's real simple. You have 3 soul binds. Instead of having the DPS one, survivability, and the utility one, you have the DPS one, the DPS one, and the DPS one. Then you can just decide which one you like better. Which utility you like better on the DPS one, right? And then it's way easier to balance because the reason why they're DPS or not is because you get to put DPS gems or relics into conduits, whatever, into the thing. So that that's why that is. But with that said, they also need to make it so that the abilities are the covenant abilities are there, right? You stick with your covenant, you're fine, you get that teleport or you get that shield or whatever. The other one, which is your class ability, needs to totally not be part of the covenant system. That also needs to be something that you could just choose like an essence.
True. Yeah, those are the solutions. That's like there's actually like, the more I think about it, like I've heard you hear a lot of solutions for what's going on, or like the covenant stuff. Every single one of them, even if I don't think it's perfect, it's better than what they have now. Which is like, they came up with the worst possible idea. How did they start there? Which I kind of have a conspiracy of why they started there, but
I have a conspiracy too. My conspiracy is real simple. I think that they wanted everyone to have different covenants that they have to choose, and then later on down the road, they were going to make it so that they came together, and now you can use every power, and that was part of the storyline. And I think that there was like a whole, like, we all come together, any player can pick anything, any soulbind or any ability from any covenant, and we're all together defeating the jailer or whatever the fuck it is, right? Like, that's what my
9.2 or something.
Yeah, exactly. It was going to be like a 9.2, like, all right, we found a solution. Let's all come together. That's what it sucks that they're doing it that we're kind of taking the wind out of their sails, but they can still do that. It's just not with the one ability. Just that one ability just has to not be part of that.
Yeah. But yeah, that's essentially what we want. We think it's very I think we're like on the same page with what the solution is. Like maybe slight differences, but like your covenant ability, the damage one, you should be able to just choose that like a talent. Simple as that. It's a talent. Yep. It's an additional ability. You change it whenever you can change talents. Easy. Your covenant itself, like when you choose to be Venthyr, you can't change your covenant. Or I mean, it's like difficult, as they're saying, to switch between them.
2 weeks.
Like you are Venthyr, yeah. But the only thing that's like locked behind that, being a Venthyr, is like the 3 soul binds you get to choose from, and like the Covenant Sanctum and whatever. So it's like not just straight up like gameplay differences. It's just like aesthetics and like little teeny tiny passives that you don't really notice. Yeah. So you don't mind. Like you're like, oh, I got my ability, I'm good. I can deal with like my passives being a little different. But when it's like you're choosing between literally an AoE button and a single target button, that's not gonna work. It's
ridiculous.
It's not gonna work. That's 100%. They have to make the Covenant abilities like swappable. That's like step one. If they don't do that, it's not gonna be good. And then yeah, like the Conduit thing. I mean, the Soulbind and Conduit thing, like they're already on track with the Conduit thing not being destructible. That would have been weird. So yeah, now if they make it so that like I actually have a reason as a DPS to choose between the 3 Soulbinds that I have, hey, that's an obvious solution there, because for some reason they seem to think that choosing between damage and not damage is like a good choice.
I don't understand that. It's so ridiculous. Like getting utility, being like, hey, I get 2 2 tiger dashes or whatever the hell. Like I get 2 charges. I get, or I get longer on my roots, or my roots now affects 2. Like that shit is like so like it's fun, and like you get to decide how you want to play. All that stuff is true. But being like, you get to choose between 2 dashes, or you get 2 rips put on every time you rip.
Yeah.
That's not the same.
Yeah, exactly. It's like if you know how they have the talent rows separated out. So you have like a movement row. You have your rolls, your Tiger Lust, and your Chi Torpedo. They don't do damage. They're all the same. They move. It makes sense to choose between it. If they put like Chi Torpedo on the same row as Whirling Dragon Punch, people would lose their minds.
First off, let's talk about if you put Whirling Dragon Punch on any row.
Yeah, why is that even a talent? That's a fucking niche thing that nobody.
yeah, no one's talking about.
Nobody cares.
Speaking of what nobody cares about, dude. All right, first off, anything else you want to say on these covenants?
Let me see. Well, the main thing that like, because it's easy to shit on, right? Like everybody's shitting on the whole covenant idea.
Yep.
I think we both want to reinforce that Shadowlands is awesome. The covenant idea. The covenant idea is awesome, like choosing a covenant, like,
and that's
RP
what I was
wise.
getting behind the whole time.
That's cool.
Yeah.
So like Shadowlands is sick, everything in it. The covenants too are like pretty sick. They're just like doing it wrong, but the consequences, it's such a like core thing to Shadowlands. Everything else in Shadowlands can be great, but if they mess up the covenants, it's gonna ruin the whole thing. Yeah, yep. It's gonna ruin Torghast.
Same exact effect that Azerite gear had. It's like they mess up Azerite gear and you just fuck up the expansion, and that's what happened.
Exactly. And that's kind of like what happened with Legion, like at the beginning, where it's like, holy shit, Legion's awesome. Mythic Plus is this new thing. My class plays great. The artifacts are great. Everything's cool. I have to grind AP. That's kind of weird, but wait, I didn't get the legendary I want. Wait, that just ruined my everything I do now sucks because I didn't get the legendary I want. You know what I mean? Like it's so core to your gameplay. And I think that's what's going on. That's why people are so concerned about it, because it's not just like this little off to the side thing, like, oh, you're ruining Torghast. It's like, well, just don't do it. It's like you have to do this, and you will be doing it all day, every day you play, every minute you play this game, you will be dealing with your covenant. So please don't mess it up, man.
Man, he brought that up too as like a thing, is like the whole like fire mages. If you were a fire mage, you got your legendary and whatever and your artifact, and then you wanted to be a frost mage, you just couldn't be a frost mage because you didn't have your legendary and whatever. And he's like, we learned from that. Did ya? Huh? Did you learn from it, dude? Because I don't see it. Anyways, fucking crazy. What's the next class video you're thinking about doing?
Affliction Warlock.
Affliction Warlock.
Yeah, coming out this week, dude. Affliction is crazy.
Can you elaborate on that a little bit? There are a few Warlock lovers in the chat right now, so that's pretty sweet.
So the main thing, and pretty much the only thing that matters, I mean, like everything ripples out from this one change. Malefic Rapture. Probably never heard either of those words before in your life, but now they're together in one ability. Malefic Rapture is like your spender now.
Is that for a rogue?
What?
Is that for a rogue?
No.
Rapture?
Oh god.
Sorry. Fucking me, dude.
Jesus.
I ruined the flow. Go ahead.
Wait, and Rapture is a priest ability. Okay, now you got me real. Okay. Malefic Rapture is the ability.
Oh, I was thinking of Rupture. Oh my god.
Yeah, I thought you were making a joke, so I wasn't gonna.
Right. Go ahead.
Holy moly. Anyway, so Malefic Rapture is the ability that like Affliction will be known for now. It's the one, and it's a spender, and it you press it, and it does damage to anything that has a dot on it that you have a dot on. For like a flat amount, it's like for every dot that you have out, when you press that button, every single enemy will take 400 damage. If you have 2 dots on it, it'll take 800 damage. And it just every time you press it, it'll do damage, and it spins a shard and all that good stuff. So that's like the big change for Affliction Warlock. So it's like instead of like stacking, like I think Unstable Affliction was your main spender for a while with Affliction Warlock, you like stack 5 of them and it's like a dot and whatever. But now you still have Unstable Affliction. It's just like a maintenance dot. It's not, nothing crazy. It does a bunch of damage, but now Malefic Rapture. God, that's a bad name. It's crazy, dude. And it works in every scenario. So long story short, it's going to make you crazier in multi-dotting, which is like already the Affliction
so weird
strength.
To say, right?
Yeah, it's like Affliction was already crazy for multi-dotting. Malefic Rapture just makes you better at that, just by default. And then it also makes you better in like bursty kind of damage, because it's like if you pull up to a trash bag, it's everything's gonna die in 10 seconds. You do you precast like a seed, you throw a vile taint on there. Every single mob has 2 dots, and you press Malefic Rapture like once or twice. That's like, hey, that's burst damage. Affliction ain't known for that. You couldn't do that since Legion. So like you actually can kind of like manage some burst damage, but when like things start living decently long, like that, you can get 3 dots on every mob. You can start to get like 4 on a few, and then every Malefic Rapture is doing like stupid damage, and like you can make it happen real fast. So like Affliction's looking pretty sick, I would say. Like it's 100% going to be more viable in Mythic Plus. I don't know if it's going to be like King or whatever, right? So you never really know, but it's going to be way more viable in Mythic Plus than it was, because it's a lot less about your dot damage. And it's going to be even better in multi-dots. So like Affliction's looking wild based on like whatever.
And they have that talent,
do.
Sow the Seed, that's making it so that you get even more AoE than you used to in BFA. I think they're just going to be absolute AoE.
Oh, that talent sucks.
What?
Yeah,
we're talking about tuning, dude. That's tuning.
No, it's on the same row as like really, really good talents. So it's not
But that's
good.
tuning.
No, it's no.
All right. Well, I'm not a warlock, so I just know changes.
Yeah. Like it's on the same row as Phantom Singularity and Vile Taint. And if you're a warlock talking about AoE, it's like, oh, yeah, Seed is bad.
Damn. All right.
But you still you even have some options as Affliction Warlock. Like you don't have to play Vile Taint. Like Phantom Singularity like kind of owns too, and it gets extended by your Dark Lair, and dude, they got a lot of good stuff going on. I got a lot to say about Affliction Warlock.
The Legion Slow Ring is going to be back. What's that mean?
Oh, it's like the Sacrilash thing from Legion that was like super broken. Remember doing I think we had to do it on Agrimar.
Where you put the dot on them and then they get slowed for infinity.
Yeah, they're slowed forever. Yeah. It was like a huge part of the Mythic Plus meta, and like you had to do it on Agrimar for some strats and stuff like that. So that's coming back. I think it's like a nerfed version of it already, and the slows matter like a lot less in Shadowlands so far. Like even in BFA, they mattered a lot less. So it's kind of like a funny
back?
thing.
Is it coming back as like a baseline thing, or is that a talent?
As a new legendary, dude.
Oh fuck!
Yeah,
legendaries are so sick, dude. Oh my god, I love it.
They were like, hey, remember that legendary you guys liked? Yeah, literally the same one.
That's awesome, dude. That's so awesome.
Yeah, it's crazy.
There is a question as well as about Shadow Priest, but I'm pretty sure you're not talking about them right now because they need a lot of work, right?
Yeah, it's I think like there's a lot going on with Shadow Priest that's like
they're basically the same right now when it comes to like play style, but they're not in any place to be like make a video about or anything like that. We think that they just didn't even do a pass on them yet, so it's not even really worth talking
pretty
about.
Much. And because it's the same thing that happened in BFA, where it's like baseline, the spec just like is weird, doesn't really work or like make sense, and then you got like traits and essences and whatever like on top of it, and you're like, oh, this is how it's supposed to play, like, oh, this is sick, okay, Shadow Priest kind of owns everything, makes sense, cool. But now we're back to you lost all that, now you're back to the spec not really making sense, and it's like, oh man, like I can't really get my void form that high, like why is my void eruption doing all my damage, like this isn't right, what's going on here? So it's just like I don't know if it's like a tuning thing they have to do or what, but I'm kind of expecting some big changes.
Well, I think
a little funky.
Altogether, I don't feel like they even looked much at the priest class in general right now, because there's just some crazy shenanigans going on. Shadow Priest is basically ignored. Again, I have faith that they're going to do a pass on that. I just think they just haven't got to it yet. But like Shadow Priest is completely ignored right now. Holy Priest is doing more damage than some DPS. Holy Priest, it is fucking bananas. And then
you have more buttons than other DPS.
Listen, you have as many buttons as 2 Holy Priests used to have back in BFA. Like, it is crazy. So the rotation is so bonkers, and like the bit, like I'm telling you right now, they just didn't even look at priests, so it's probably not even worth talking about, or any videos that you've seen are just absolute fucking useless, because they're out of this world right now.
Yep. Priests are weird. For sure. But yeah, I think like I'll probably do Affliction Warlock, because that one's like crazy, and I think it's like actually pretty safe. Like it's not going to change too much. And then after that, dude, I might do Windwalker.
Oh, and keep in mind, guys, that Zax keeps up a spreadsheet with, you know, the latest damage that he can get out of each class as it, you know, as he's doing his testing or whatever. So he's, you know, he tested the new shaman changes, he tested the new enhanced changes. Like together we've tested all the tanks. Together, you know, he doesn't keep that in the spreadsheet, but like all the DPS classes, all the specs, you know, he keeps that pretty nice and neat. That's at the Ready Check Pull Discord. You can find that.
Yeah. I got to start doing like comparing legendaries and stuff soon, which is like, oh god.
Yeah, they're saying Holy Priest DPS spec. He wants that. Well, let me tell you right now, if they don't change it, it is crazy. They have and their abilities aren't from spamming like Smite like it used to be, and it's not like they also get Seer, but it's like something. It's called I think it's something different now. But anyways, you basically get Mind Seer, you get Smite, and your damage doesn't even come from that. Your damage comes from the Execute, Shadow Word Death. Then you get Shadow Word Pain, which you only put up, I think, if all the other shit's on cooldown. You have like 3 instant cast spells, or 3 spells that are like pretty fast cast that are on cooldowns. So the whole time you're just whack-a-moling. You're just like, oh, this is up, bam, this is up, bam. And it's like if you had an actual healer in there and you didn't have to heal, because right now damage is looking a little crazy, but if you didn't have to heal, I really believe like you would be beating things like Feral Druid and enhanced shaman, not enhanced, elemental shaman. Like you'd be beating those in dungeons in single target, like for sure.
Yeah, it's a little funky. It seems like they
get both Shadow Words, which is nuts.
Yeah, I think you're probably right about them like not having really done much with Priest yet. Like that's still on the chopping block. Because like it feels like they need to prune a little bit of the unpruning. Like you literally just don't have, like, it's just too many buttons.
It's like the warrior effect. Prot warrior just has too many buttons. It's unnecessary.
Yeah, somehow.
And they're all good. So it's like if like me and Zach are trying to figure out like what abilities do you get rid of and whatever. It's like I don't know, because like you don't want to get rid of any of them except Slam. Fuck Slam. You don't want to get rid of any of them, but like on the Holy Priest, I love having all this damage and all this whatever. If they get rid of abilities, then that means my damage goes down. I don't really want that to happen, but they have to do something, because it's so you as Holy, you still get Renew, but you also get the shield. You get the power word shield. Why do they have that? That is absolutely ridiculous. Like you get those things, and then you have all the heals that you typically would get, and then you still have the talents. Like if you're talenting into radiance, and then the other, I forgot what it's called, the echo thing that goes out. Like if you're talenting into that, you have so many binds, you might as well just bind them all to your mouse wheel and just, whatever's up is going to be what's pressed, because it is crazy.
You know what's crazy? Like because they've been like the feedback loop has been so good, like pretty good with Shadowlands. Talking about this priest stuff, like I wouldn't be surprised, like on Tuesday they're like, hey, we changed all the priest stuff. It's like, well, how do they do it? Right when I was getting weird about it, they fixed it.
Yeah,
they've been so good about it lately, dude. They're
listening to us. I really feel like they're like watching what you're doing.
Demon Hunters.
Yeah, I know. They're like, what? They're like, this guy spends a lot of time at the dummies. What if we just attach our like logs and data analysis to that guy? It's like, holy shit.
Dude, I wish.
Well, they're clearly not listening to you about covenants.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I was about to say, I just thought of something about the covenant thing. That's like a unfortunate reality, I guess. It's like a small point, whatever. But from like a top, mythic raider kind of perspective, like I think Preach talked about it. And like, you hear a couple limit raiders and whoever talking about how, well, as it is right now, I will have 4 warlocks. And that is the spec I will be playing.
It's crazy.
And like, that's just the reality. Like, that's just what they, like, you can say they're like, they don't have to do that. Like, they're forcing it on themselves. But like, hey, they're trying to be the best at the game. It's just unfortunate the game says, hey, this is how you do it. You got to have 4. It's like,
can you see guilds like yours? Because I know, like, when we start back up again in Shadowlands, we're obviously going to have our limits of what we're going to require people to do. And, since it's a 3-day-a-week guild, we basically focus on getting cutting edge as early as possible, and then we move on. But like guilds like yours, who are like really fighting to like get their ranks and they're trying to be the best that they can be without burning your players out, you think that's something that they would ask, like maybe even having a second of the same class?
I really don't know, because like a few people like multi-box stuff for like this kind of reason, where it's like, oh, they just suck at balancing. I guess I have to have 2 mages. I wouldn't be surprised if you're in a guild like that and you got 3 mages. Mage is good, and you got 3 of them, but like you can only bring 2 to the fight for some reason. I wouldn't be surprised. They only have 1. It's gonna come down to, like you said earlier, like one of them is Venthyr, one of them is Kyrian. It's like, well, I'm not taking the Kyrian one. It's just, you guys are both good, but you chose the wrong one. See ya. It's like, oh, why is that's tough. So unfortunate. Like,
and it's tough to be like, you've been a guild leader, like, and so I can definitely speak from this. It's really shitty to ever have to pick the worst player, even because you're talking about the same level player. But sometimes you have to make a decision. Like, if you do not have one of the demon hunter or monk debuffs, like, you literally just sometimes have to take the worst player to get that buff. And that fucking sucks, dude. Like, having to do that, like, having to be like, sorry, such and such, we can't take you because, like, your class is what it is, and we need this. It's like, fuck, that is absolutely the worst.
Yeah, it's definitely concerning. It's like, do they care? Do they care about that? Do they care about the super high end? It's like, well, I think you probably should, because even if like you don't care about them specifically, that's who gets the views, man. Like that's where the eyeballs go for your game. Yeah, everybody watches the top end, and even like, I don't know, like,
and like, what do you do? Like,
gonna be talking about it. Like, ugh.
What if you spend all your time on your covenant, and then just happen chance that it ends up being the best covenant, right? And then they nerf it. How bad does it feel when they nerf the thing, even if it's like something that you weren't even using, but you just like, you got nerfed, and then you find out that the shit that you worked forever on is now nerfed to the ground, and you're just like, fucking like, I can't switch because they don't let me.
I don't want to think about it, dude. I'm hoping for the best. There's clear options. Hopefully they figure them out. But we're finally getting, now that beta is out, we're finally getting to test the abilities themselves more, like out in dungeons and whatever. We're testing everything now. So now it's like, now they want feedback. You know what I mean? Like they wanted to get the core thing into the game, and now it's like, okay, now let us know how much you hate it. It's like,
Yeah,
I've been waiting to.
And we're doing a lot of testing ourselves, and it would be nice because we have, like I said, the Discord is really like popping off with people who are asking us questions, trying out things themselves in beta and alpha, and just coming up with, Zach's is, like I said, keeps that spreadsheet, but we're also posting logs and stuff. It would be dope if you guys get into beta, like, honestly, like, come up with your own problems and own shit that you have, and let Blizzard know that this shit is not gonna be good. Like, it is not gonna be good keeping the covenants the way they are. It's not gonna be good having to decide, make your decision, and then there's the chance that later on down the road they just nerf it. It's like, those things, like, let them know, because the more people scream, the more that they're apt to do some changes. So and people are pushing back on this shit. Like Asmin Gold, he's been a big mouth with this. Preach has been a big mouth with this. Bellular has been big with this. Like, everyone is talking about how fucking awful this could be.
Yeah. Yep. And like the solutions are just so easy. But on a sort of a lighter note about the covenants, they did listen to feedback from like 2 expansions ago, or that we've been saying for 2 expansions. And you know how there's no AP in Shadowlands? There's no artifact power, Azerite power, none of that. There's no neck level, The replacement, sort of, it's not really like that, but the replacement sort of thing for that is called Renown, and it's like how you progress through your covenant. It's kind of like AP, but not really. They put a hard cap on how much you can get every week, or how much you can like contribute to your covenant every week.
Which is fucking awesome.
Which is crazy. They
awesome.
do not do hard caps ever, and they were finally like, okay, yeah, you're right. We'll put a hard cap. It's like, oh my god, they're listening.
It's so, like, the fact that we don't have to do every world quest every day, and if they reset awkwardly twice a day is amazing, dude. Like, that is great. So amazing.
Dude, we've been talking about that for so long. Like, man, literally the easiest thing they could do is just put a hard cap on AP, and every problem is solved. But they'll never do it.
But it's like, it's one of those caps though that they're still going to allow you to work towards things like mounts and things like transmogs and stuff like that. Yeah. But it's just so good that they're like, all right, this is the stuff that's going to progress you to make you stronger than someone else. So we're going to stop you here so that, first off, the people who want to be the best don't have to ruin their fucking life by doing this. And then the people who have a life, or a different life outside of World of Warcraft, those people, like me and like you, so I am the person who has kids, wife, other shit, and you're the person who's just like, I'm gonna be the best as I can in this game right now, and then I'm done, right? Like, you go fucking ham, and then you're done. Wouldn't it be nice if, like, we could both do the things that we need to do, and then we can actually have coffee, dude? We can go, like, to the movies.
Yeah.
We can fucking high five. Like, we can hang, like, we won't have to fucking bleed our eyes out opening this game all day, every day.
Yeah, or like, you play, I don't know, you progress your character to a level that's good, and I do that. It took the same amount of time, and we can't progress any further. You go outside and do normal people stuff, and I level in alt.
Wouldn't it be sick if you could have an alt that wasn't the same class? That would be sick.
Yeah. Imagine being able to play an alt in WoW. That'd be amazing. They should try that.
Oh my god.
They're almost there, dude. They're almost there.
It's so close to being like Zax has this. He has this bet going on, right? He kept saying, he keeps saying that if they change the covenants, and he said this since day one. This has been his phrase since day one that Shadowlands was announced. If they change the covenants to make it so you can switch between them, he was talking about the power abilities at that time. Like, we didn't know about all the other shit. If you can change the covenants, it'll be the best expansion since Wrath. And so far, it's fucking looking like it, except they're not changing the covenants.
Yeah, it's weird.
Damn it.
I really think that, like, Shadowlands feels like a Legion 2.0. It's like they just ignored. BFA didn't happen. Everything you liked about Legion, we're keeping it. Everything you disliked, we're getting rid of it. And plus Torghast. It's like, oh, dude, that's what everybody wanted. That's sick. But yeah, this whole Covenant thing could just really suck it out. You know what else could really suck in this game? Is this? I'm just joking. But I was gonna say they added a.
I was like, where's he going? What the fuck?
I was gonna really like rip into this world quest they just released. It's a Flappy Bird world quest. If you guys know what that is.
See, I don't mind shit like that. I know we have a buddy, Frias was talking about how he really dislikes that shit too. Like he disliked the Bejeweled stuff. I love that shit. Like I honestly loved the Bejeweled. I love the little mini games. I love the jellyfish jump where you had to bounce on the like. I like all that weird shit. Like, I'm not too much of a hater on that stuff.
Yeah, I can deal with it. It's like I think the weird one was the seagull shooting one. I think the Flappy Bird one might be annoying too because you have to have your eyeballs on it like full time. Like you can't just like look away from the screen for 5 seconds. You have to 100% be focused on the Flappy Bird. That's like. Oh,
don't worry, I'm gonna make a guide on it, dude. I'll make a full guide on that world quest.
Yeah.
Jesus
that'll be
Christ.
Our April Fool's guide, dude.
Will it actually kind of like if it's anything like that Murloc game in New Home, like definitely not gonna like that. But like other than that, it's like I don't mind any of the world quests.
Yeah. But yeah, so far so good with Shadowlands. Just one
Blizzard.
Big fat exception on that.
Just say, you know what? We made an exception. We're gonna keep the covenants permanent, where you cannot change them. We're taking away the thing that we said before, where you're gonna have the week quest. You pick your covenant, you keep it. But we're gonna make it so that you can get any of the class abilities, and we're gonna make the soul binds have 3 DPS rows each for each of the soul binds, or you can switch them on the fly and your relic switch based on the spec that you are. Either one is fine. Either one is good. So if they make those changes, it'll be fucking fantastic.
True that. And I'm gonna be making a I don't know when, but I'm gonna make a video kind of explaining those solutions, like the problem and those solutions and why they're good. So if you didn't really understand it in here,
that's a must make. Yeah.
Hopefully that video will help out whenever I get around to that, because it's a weird thing going on. That's all I got, dude.
Me too, man. Well, let everyone know that we are going to be coming up with a tank video shortly. We're going to have the Affliction Warlock video out shortly. All of our dungeon videos are out. We're going to be making a little dungeon roundup video / commentary thing as well. And then next Friday we'll be back on. It's going to be a little bit weird next Friday because we're going to have some little outdoor action going on, but we're going to make it work. And then we upload every Saturday. Come check us out on Discord. Love you all. It has been a fantastic podcast, dude. This one was good. Like, I feel like I got my anger out. I feel like it was a little bit like therapy, And now I can move on with my day.
Yeah. It was nice to vent.
Hell yeah. All right, man. Well, see you guys soon. Again, I'm Jim Fro, and that's your boy Zax, dude. See you later.
Bye-bye.